Hi, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the cosine graph, the cosine curve. Okay, so this is on the screen right now. You see what you see here is a cosine curve, cosine graph, and you can see that again. It's periodic. It repeats, and it repeats to the right. Doesn't stop. Repeats to the left as well. If you had watched the previous video where I discussed about the sine wave, I mentioned that the x-axis is actually my angle, and my y-axis in this case would be the cosine of those angles. So, for example, if my angle is 0 radian, if my angle is 0 radian, cosine 0 gives me 1. Okay, so if you refer back to unicircle, now we're talking about cosine, which means we're only looking at the x coordinates, okay? Only the x coordinates will be looked at for my cosine wave. So if my angle is pi over 2, cosine of pi over 2 is here, and cosine of pi over 2 is 0. If I look at my angle, when my angle is pi, it's over here, my x value, the x coordinate is -1, so the cosine pi is -1. And my angle is 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is over here. Cosine of 3 pi over 2 is going to be 0. So 0, that's correct. And then I have 2 pi, cosine of 2 pi. I'm back to this same point. I'm back to the point that I started. And my x coordinate is 1. So my the y coordinate on my graph is 1. So sometimes students are confused with, wait, am I supposed to use the x coordinates of the unicircle, but you, Mr. Henry, just said that it becomes the y coordinate on the graph. Now, what we learned back in the unicircle, we know that the x coordinate represents my cosine. So we're only looking at the values of the x coordinates, right? The x coordinates represent those values. They are now my cosine of the angle, right? Because for now, what I have on this graph is my horizontal axis are my angles, and my y-axis are the cosine of the angles, right? So this 1 means cosine of 0. This 0 means cosine of pi over 2. This -1 means cosine of pi. The 0 over here means cosine of 3 pi over 2. The 1 over here means cosine of 2 pi. So the y coordinate, because my equation is y equals cosine x, that's why the y coordinates over here, they represent the cosine value only. And if we are referring to the cosine value, when we use the unicircle, we only have to look at the x coordinates. So there's no really a connection between the x coordinates here and the x coordinates here, the y coordinates there and the y coordinate. There's no relationship between the coordinates. Okay, we just have to know. If I'm talking about sine, then I look at the y coordinates on the unicircle, and I'm only looking at the values. And then if I'm talking about cosine graph, then I'm only looking at the x values, and that's it. On my cosine wave that I have right now, the horizontal axis is angle, the vertical axis is the cosine value of those angles. So I'm going to hide my cosine graph right now, and I'm going to show the table. This table was what I used in the previous video where I show you guys the sine wave. I'm going to change that to cosine wave, cosine, and you can see that I get these points, right? And similarly, all the y value, the y coordinates, the cosine of each of the respective angles have also been updated, because I have a cosine of x1. So the table function in decimals automatically updated the value for me. and we can see that y equals to cos x. It does pass through all these points. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about some special points, some period and amplitude of a cosine graph. So a very special property, a very special point for a cosine wave is it will start from the maximum point. When x equals 0, we will start with 1. Okay, unlike sine graph, we start from 0. For cosine graph, I start from the maximum point. And then it's going to go down, hit the 0, hit the x-intercept, hit the minimum, come back up to 0, and then hit the maximum again. So how long does it take? How long does it take for cosine graph to repeat the cycle? In other words, what is your period? Your period will be 2 pi. Okay, your period is 2 pi. Sometimes I don't always have to use this special point. I can use, say, this point right here. So this is going down, come back up, and then go up and going down again. So if I look at these 2 points, pi over 2 and 5 pi over 2, the distance between them would also be 2 pi, right? If you're not sure, pi over 2 plus 2 pi, actually I should say 5 pi over 2 minus 2 pi minus pi over 2 gives us, this is, that's 2 pi, okay? So we could use the maximum, we can use any other point, and you will see that the distance between them will always be the same. Or I can use the minimum, so that'll be 3 pi, right? That'll be 3 pi. Or I can use the 0 here, so this is 3 pi over 2, so 3 pi over 2 plus 2 pi, that will give us 7 pi over 2, okay? So let me show you guys the pairs again. All right, so that's one pair. You can use that to get your period. Or I can use this point and that point. And if you take 5 pi over 2 minus pi over 2, you will get 2 pi, right? I can also use this point, that point. 3 pi minus pi, that's obviously 2 pi, so that works as well. I can use this 0 and that 0, and that will also give me 2 pi, and so on and so forth. I can also go to left hand side. So if I have, this is negative pi over 2. Actually, you know what? Let's use this. This is negative pi. So this is pi and negative 1. If I go there, minus 2 pi, I'll end up at negative pi. So there you go, negative pi. So you can see that period is simply the distance for the wave to repeat itself. Okay, how long it takes for the wave to repeat itself. What about amplitude? Where's my amplitude? But before we talk about amplitude, we need to know where the principal axis is. So where's my principal axis? I hope your answer is the x-axis, right? I have this horizontal line lying right in the middle of this cosine wave. So my principal axis is y equals 0, right? So if y equals 0 is the principal axis, then obviously my amplitude is 1. My amplitude is 1. Whether it's going up like that or going down that much, it doesn't matter if it's going up or down. We're only looking at the distance, and right now the distance is 1. Okay? That's it for now. In the next video, I'll show you guys how to use your TI-84 to solve trig equations. But please, I mentioned something that could be a bit confusing in the beginning of the video, where I was trying to make the connection between the x and y coordinates over here to the x and y coordinates over here. Please make sure you understand what I'm saying. If not, bring them to class and we will talk about it. All right, this is it. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.